Banyan.
Do 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 do.
Banyan.
Do 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 do.
Banyan.
Do 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 do. Hello and welcome to Big Nostalgia, the podcast video series thing where we look at old games, how they developed, do they still hold up, and what were our experiences with them. So, over the last 8 weeks, we have covered 8 more games. We had our pilot, that was Super Smash Bros. That's 9. Today, the 10th, the last game of the first season, is the one that, to be honest, if you're watching this channel and subscribed,
You know what we like.
I was going to say, this is probably the game you know us best for.
This is our jam.
This is our absolute jam.
It's Banjo-Kazooie.
Guh. And this is why we used our normal voices for Banjo-Kazooie.
Instead of a pretend voice for that abridged series.
Anyway, we're not talking about the abridged, we're talking about the actual game, which is always
The actual
fun.
game, the Nintendo 64 game, that was released from Rare, obviously. Released in 1998, the Nintendo 64. And, you know the storyline. Definitely if you've watched us, you know the storyline. Bear and Bird.
Say it with us.
Bear and Bird. Sister gets captured by evil witch. Let's go and rescue her. That's about it. Really?
Evil witch wants to steal the beauty using big old machine that she can't even fit in.
I did like that as a games over sort of credits. Like you see her actually winning.
Yeah, no, Rare are very good with that because obviously Donkey Kong 64 had King K. Rool charging up the blaster to fire at Donkey Kong Island and DK64.
It's a nice way to kind of like think outside the box to be like, oh, so this is game's over. Let's actually see what would happen.
Yeah,
apparently
leaving
Mumbo
now.
would jump to the dark side.
Yeah, he just would change teams. He'd just be like...
So obviously got something, a stick in his pants that is controlling him, or a rock or something. I'm not sure that little skirty thing gets in the way.
It decides his morality, which way his radar is pointing.
Well, of course, the main villain in it is Grunty.
Gruntilda.
Gruntilda Winky Bottom.
Winky Bunyan.
Even better.
Although that name wasn't introduced until the sequel. So in this it was just Gruntilda the Witch.
And then she's, of course, a big old bad. Got the main two protagonists. You've got Banjo.
The honey bear.
Who is brother to Tooty. And you've got Kazooie. For some reason, lives in his backpack.
A red-crested Breagle.
I mean, it's never really discussed or what their relationship are. I've always just worked on the fact they're friends.
Yeah.
Roommates.
Yeah, no, it's just to kind of imply they're just best buds.
Yeah. Can't be without each other.
So,
and
yeah.
Kazooie's lazy.
Tooty comes over because Banjo's promised her an adventure.
And like most Nintendo 64 heroes at that time, he was asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's basically for, Mario, Zelda, they're just all asleep to begin with. Or late.
So, yeah, and the irony being that there was an adventure. It's just Tooty ended up being the one kidnapped in order to cause it.
And their buddy who lives outside, Bottles, who helps along the way, showing them what moves to do and talking to them and being a little bit of a dweeb, but,
Yeah.
nice extra character. And, of course, in the first series, first game. Vicky, get your bridged head off. The first game, there's just Mumbo as the other extra character. Because Klungo doesn't really play into it much in the early...
He only actually appears in, 2 cutscenes. He just appears in the cutscenes.
He's never actually a character or, not until the second game where you can actually fight him and stuff. So, would you count him as a big character in the first game?
Not really. To be honest, Dingpot and Klungo, kind of Grunty's two talking hench people that she talks to, are more there for the exposition and the story than anything else.
Because I suppose in the second one she has her sisters.
Yeah.
And the whole Klungo thing and...
Yeah, so Klungo's a boss and Dingpot only appears at the end.
Think of him as her Igor. Yeah. And for some reason is he
Crunk.
green?
Crunk? Is that the one from Emperor's New Groove?
Yeah, I think it's Grunk. But is he green in the first?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is green. Green with a white lab coat. And I want to say nothing on underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he
Disney
wears shorts,
sort of logic
right?
there. No, I don't think he does. Does he?
Yeah, I don't
please comment below if you've checked out Klongo recently.
In the second game, I can't even remember, and obviously I spent hours with that game just doing the editing.
I think the coat was done up in the second game.
It's definitely open at the top.
Yeah, but it's done up like belly button. Out of all the things I thought we were going to discuss today while discussing this game, this is not one of them that came like immediately to mind.
So he's basically dressed like...
But I swear in the first one, it's open.
Middle-aged...
So it's just Mickey Mouse down there.
So you're saying he's dressed like middle-aged man who won't accept that he's not that good looking anymore with the open coloured shirt with like the hairy chest hanging out.
Yeah. What? Anyway.
So, in Gruntilda's lair, where they have to go to rescue Tutti, there are multiple themed worlds.
Now, I know that I can't, and I do have a list here, but let's see if Philip, I probably guess that he can, name those worlds. 9 main worlds.
So, with 1 Jiggy, you can open up Mumbo's Mountain.
Yep.
With 2 Jiggies, you can open up Treasure Trove Cove. With 4 Jiggies, you can open up Clanker's Cavern. And I think it goes to 8. No, I think it goes to 6. Because it's obviously aggregate, not total. You can open up Bubble Gloop Swamp. I'm going to stop saying the Jiggy numbers now. I just remember that. I think Click Clock Wood is 20. Or 16. And then the final Grunty is 20. But anyway, let's continue from Bubble Gloop.
Let's be honest, for Grunties, it's a complete picture, isn't it?
Yeah. So it might even be 25.
Yeah.
No, that'd be a quarter of the ones in the entire game. It's not that much. Anyway. So it's, Bubble Gloop Swamp.
Yep.
Freeze Easy Peak.
Yep.
Gobi's Valley.
Yep.
Mad Monster Mansion.
Yep.
Rusty Bucket Bay.
Yep.
And Click Clock Wood.
Yep.
And the...
Grunty level, which is basically just a boss.
Grunty's Furnace Fun.
Oh yeah, the whole quiz thing. Oh, fine.
Yeah.
And as you know from the abridged series, plug, we did an awesome song to that. Check it out on
this channel. Or if you're listening on SoundCloud on the Abridged Big Knickers YouTube channel, just search Banjo-Kazooie the Abridged series. It's the finished one.
It's awesome. Yeah, plug over. So the starter world, where you start off, is obviously where you live in your little house, and at Spiral Mountain, and then you climb a bridge across into Gruntilda's lair, which is normally for the entire game. It's the hub world, as it were, because she has got a big lair, and that lair don't lie. That's a big lair.
She's
don't lie.
Very narcissistic as well. She has lots of her pictures of herself and statues of herself.
And even like a monument like of her head, isn't it? And then you can go in her mouth.
Yeah, well that's the outside, and there is another one on the inside.
Oh yeah, there is, isn't there? And when you fall through the roof into her hat, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah? So it's basically a museum of herself. No wonder.
Well,
She'd have to get all changed if she lost the weight. It's not worth it, Grunty. It's not worth it.
Yeah. Well, unless she has magic to do it. But yeah.
Well, I suppose she is a witch, so I don't see her digging through the tunnels to make this cabin, this lair by herself.
What, into the mountainside?
Yeah.
Well, she's got underlings to do it.
A lot of underlings, which you have to kick their asses, which is a lot of fun.
I feel like we're going into the lore a lot more than other games for this one. But it's fine because this is the big one.
Do you think the people who live in the worlds, realise they are part of her lair?
That's the thing. Did the worlds exist somewhere and she built
around them?
She built a teleport to their worlds, or did she build all the worlds as
maybe her world powers her lair?
Oh, that's some
Ooh, conspiracies. Again, not where I think this episode was going to be going, but we're running with it.
We're
it's
turning
all
into
good.
an episode of Game Theory. Does Gruntilda power her lair? by siphoning off energy from all her worlds.
Because, let's be honest, none of the people in the worlds ever talk about her, but her voice does kind of carry. So,
although Mad Monster Mansion is kind of lightly implied to be one of her, like, a property she owns.
So Mad Monster Mansion, yeah, but they have that big old dining room table and everything.
Yeah,
so
when you steal the
is
Jiggy...
she supposed to be like a giant for Mad Monster Mansion? If that's their dining room table.
That's true, that's a very big table. But when you take the Jiggy, the ghost's like, uh-oh, Grunty's gonna beat me.
So, and that house isn't in the best of shapes, really.
But the bed's like regular size, right?
Yeah, it's just...
Is it just the dining room that's really big?
Yeah, the bedroom was fine and the toilet was fine. You find this out because you turn into a pumpkin, obviously.
And get flushed down the toilet, obviously.
Yeah. So, explaining the powers a bit more, Gruntilda the Witch wants to turn Tootie in, swap
Swap the beauty round.
Swap the beauty. But Mumbo is a character that helps you out throughout the game, and he uses his Mumbo magic to turn you into helpful, if not questionable, different items throughout the different levels. And you do this by collecting Mumbo tokens. And I find him a very 1D, very flat sort of character in the first game.
Yeah.
And then they really do develop him a bit more.
When you can play as him and he's a bit more involved in the story.
Yeah, and then he has that competitiveness with Wombo as well.
Yeah.
Which, of course, in the first one, he's the only magic man in town, so you're kind of reliant on him.
So yeah, this is the game. If you've never played it, is kind of somewhat a collectathon. So you need jigsaw pieces to open doors, musical notes to open different types of doors, and Mumbo tokens to do Mumbo moves, and then there's eggs, feathers that help you do your move set.
It's your classic 100 notes for each level, 10 jiggies per level.
Yep.
And then I want to say 10 Jinjos?
5 Jinjos.
5 Jinjos.
Which are captured by Grunty.
And they're all colour coordinated, and by getting all of them, then you normally get a jiggy, don't you?
Yeah.
That's one of the simple standard jiggies for each level.
So now we've explained all that. Now my time's for you to list. Can you name all the transformations in Banjo-Kazooie? Ant/termite. Because we always call it an ant, but it's technically a termite.
The crocodile.
Yep.
In Bubble Gloop Swamp. I'm miming something here. The seal.
Well, walrus.
Walrus in Freezy Peak. The pumpkin in Monster Mansion. In Rusty Bucket Bay. You don't have a transformation in Rusty Bucket Bay, do you?
No.
Click Clock Wood. You're the bumblebee.
Yep.
Gobi's Valley.
There isn't one.
There isn't one.
No, you've got them all.
I've got them all.
5.
Hey, I got them. Oh,
Because
yeah.
in this game there wasn't one.
Well, that was a trick question then.
There's not a transformation every level.
No, which I thought was good as well, because if you had to, it would have been hard to fit in. Whereas it makes more sense in the second one because the worlds are bigger, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the ways that you get round the worlds is the teleporting pads in this one, or is that in the second game?
That's in the second one. I thought you were talking about the cauldrons that help you get around the hub world.
So there's cauldrons, and once you've match one with the same coloured one, you can get in it and it jumps you to the next place. Bit like Wind Waker.
Yes. Yeah, like the cauldrons in Wind Waker that help you to move your way through
the temples a little bit quicker.
And those weird jumpy baby things in Yoshi's Story.
Yeah. But I think it's quite a cool aspect, because, of course, when we first played it through, those eons ago, back when we were little babas, we didn't really know what the cauldrons were for, and you don't really get it until you get further along into the layer.
Yeah.
Which
and they're all, not massively hidden, but hidden enough so you're like, ooh, what's this?
You don't have to be it's not like Fallout or The Last of Us, where it's a last piece of treasure in the corner of some abandoned building, but it's still off the track enough that unless you are a bit more of an explorer, you wouldn't easily find them.
Yeah, no, the levels were a good size that you could do them in one sitting, and that's sometimes necessary because on the N64 for the first game, if you left a level and came back, you had to collect the notes from scratch. So it recorded like your highest number as the notes that you used to go through doors. So it was 100 notes. But if you collected 50 then left, then you had 50, and if you went back in you'd have to collect from 0 again. So you wouldn't actually increase that number until you went over the 50 notes and got like 51, 52. Which is something they saw in the Xbox re-release. Although, we'll go on to a few more quirks as we go through, but just something quickly about the Xbox version. You know, when it was first released, it was possible to... I'm not sure if it completely soft-locked you, but it definitely stopped you from getting the last bonus from getting the high amount of notes. Because there is a mini-game you can do in your house, which are the bottles challenges, which give you certain codes, which give you stuff like big head and like extra ammo and I think like that, stuff like that. Definitely,
you
big
sure
head
that's
was
not cheating?
No,
Extra ammo.
No, so you get the extra ammo in Kazooie from Cheeto,
Yeah,
the spellbook.
because then you use that on the sand castle floor, don't you?
Yes, but
Yeah.
these were codes for like big head mode and like other like quirk modes.
Yeah, Nintendo 64 went through a phase of doing codes like that, like
But
the big heads and the...
Because the picture, it was like proto Banjo-2 in that the picture was a scene and you could see Banjo running around. In that scene, he's running around like collecting notes. And because he's collecting the notes and they don't respawn, in the Xbox Live version, if you did that before you got those notes, you then couldn't collect those notes. Because they did not come back.
Oh, that would have been such a kick in the teeth.
I believe it's been patched now.
Yeah,
But when it was first released,
that's
technically,
annoying.
I think you could lose enough notes that you couldn't get through the last note door. Like, bear in mind, you could complete the game, but there's
That's funny.
note doors at the end which have bonus stuff.
Ah, that's funny.
Yeah, so that was my little side story on the Xbox version.
But, of course, there's a lot more collectibles in the game, such as you can collect lives, honeycombs, which create more lives.
Well,
if
yeah,
you collect a certain amount of honeycomb,
empty
honeycombs, it makes one honeycomb piece, which then adds to your amount of lives, which is pretty cool.
Well, that caps, actually, so once you reach a certain point... So I'm just going off all my absolute random knowledge I've picked up from years of doing, obviously, lots of stuff for this game.
Woo!
It's 6 empty honeycomb pieces to an extra life. But if you get the last 6, you don't actually get an extra base of health.
Do you get anything?
No.
No.
So actually, I think there's only benefit in getting 18 out of the 24 from an actual health point of view. The last 6 are just for completionist. It doesn't actually pop up an extra bar.
So, compared to other games that we've been looking at throughout this series, I feel that the number of collectibles wasn't actually too high, and every collectible made sense in the game. For example, having the Mumbo in the level, it made sense to have like sort of a collector's thing to qualify to get his certain powers, otherwise it'd be a little bit too easy.
And the thing is, I think you could find enough to get by quite easily with the Mumbo tokens, whereas there's quite a lot hidden, so it was sometimes a nice benefit from going and searching. This is quite early in like Rare's Collectathon days, before they went absolutely nuts. And I think we talked about this in the DK.
Oh, we talked about
episode.
it in a lot of them. Yeah,
Like the DK
definitely,
one,
definitely the
where it's
DK one, and the
you had the banana camera, and you needed the film for the banana camera. You had the bananas, the banana coins, the banana medals.
there was just
golden
too
bananas.
much. There was just too much.
And that was just the banana stuff.
Let
You had
alone
the coconuts. You had the diamond coconuts, and that's already like more collectibles.
yeah, that's like already double, and we haven't even finished. If you want to check that out, that was an earlier episode in this series.
Yeah.
The other ones that Philip mentioned was, of course, eggs and feathers, but that was actually to do with actual gameplay, which were certain moves in the game, such as flying and shooting. So that I didn't really count as a collectible because it was a move, you know. Have a good game,
you had to replenish it.
and it always ran out, and there'd be plenty around. So
Yeah.
it was just part of the gameplay, to be fair, rather than a completionist sort of, I have to have a certain amount to finish the game.
And as we said as well, there is a character in the game called Cheeto who's hidden in 3 places around the lair. Again, another thing that kind of rewards you from looking around. And when you find him the first time, he gives you double eggs, then double feathers, and then double golden feathers if you put in the code. and there's a special place in Treasure Trove Cove, which is a sandcastle with letters on the floor, and you can enter cheat codes there and enter codes there.
Which is always pretty cool to have, like, that extra, because when you have a cheat code option, like a like the floor in the sandcastle, it just means that your possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
If you've got enough time on the team, even if it's a stupid code, like, I don't know, everyone has to walk backwards or something, you've still got a means to put it into the game.
Yeah, although more than two cheat codes and Grunty will erase your game pack, which actually does happen.
Does she?
Yeah.
Oh, she's mean, that Grunty.
Yeah, no, it'll come up as like, if you enter one more, I'll erase your game pack, and then when you like save and quit, it's gone.
Oh, she's mean.
Because there's an earlier point where Bottles threatens to do it. I think if you keep bothering him at the first molehill, if you keep chatting to him, but he doesn't do it.
So yeah, that would have been quite funny to
Yeah.
wind him up enough to be like, just go away. But so yeah, that's the main characters and the main moves. I mean, you learn all your moves from Bottles, and there's plenty of, I think there's a nice variety of moves throughout the game to learn.
Yeah.
And they all make sense to the levels and stuff, so there's a nice progression to the game and to the storyline and stuff.
Yeah, there's only one point where you can't do a level all at once because there's a move in the future level you need to learn, and that is to do Freeze Easy Peak. You need the running shoes, and the running shoes are from Gobi's Valley.
Yeah, which of course is the next level on, but I'd say that's the only point.
That is in, yeah.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
When I'm playing through, because I try to do levels all at once, because by that point, if you're doing them 100% as you go along, you've got plenty of jiggies by that point.
Yeah, so to open most of the other doors.
Open Freeze Easy Peak, open Gobi's Valley, go into Gobi's Valley, go straight over to Bottles, learn the move, leave again. Although I always collect one note, so that when I leave, Bottles goes, "Congratulations, your new note score for this level is 1!"
You're just like, yay!
Just because it sounds like really condescending when it's at that level.
When it's that low.
Yeah.
So, who would you say is your favourite character from the game? From Banjo-Kazooie only.
Yeah.
Obviously.
See, I quite like Grunty.
Yeah.
I like a good villain.
And she is a good villain with that silly old rhyming and the voice and stuff. She's just like, I want to be pretty. You're pretty. Come here.
She's a bit hammy as well. Like, having a game show to be like, you want to get her back? You have to win my quiz.
She's a bit of a, yeah. Bit of a wheeler dealer. I like, I kind of like Mumbo. I know I called him a 1D character, but he is a 1D character compared to later Mumbo. But still, his whole concept, he's just kind of like there in his hut, and he's like, sure, give me tokens. I'll change you into something. There, that helpful? No? Go away.
Yeah, because there's like, he makes like different comments about different transformations. Like, there is always a random chance he'll turn you into the washing machine.
Yeah.
And then he'll go, whoops. And then change you into something else, which is a nice little touch. Because obviously in the later game it becomes an actual transformation, but that's just kind of like, oh, that went wrong. And I'm pretty sure when you turn into a pumpkin, he like makes a comment about wanting to eat you, something like that.
And you have to kind of like run away but I like the fact that in the Click Clock Wood, which in fact is my favourite level, of course in winter his little cavern is like, I want to say empty. His little house is empty.
In winter, he's left a beehive in there for some reason, house sitting, because he's gone on holiday.
And then in autumn,
he's sweeping.
In summer, it's too hot.
Yeah, and he's there fanning himself.
And then spring, he'll do the spell for you. But I thought that was another little added touch by the Rare team to be like, have him in that level, but not necessarily in every part of that level.
Yeah, because there's some seasons where the transformation would have been a bit pointless.
Yeah, and some of it that might have been a bit of a cheat.
Yeah, it means that you can't just do the flying up this side of the tree for
automatically. Yeah. Now, as I've just said, my favourite level is Click Clock Wood. I love the fact that it's split into the 4 seasons, and of course you go in and it's the same old tree, but of course the effect that each season has on a land and stuff. Different
leaves have grown, different leaves have shriveled away. Different characters are in different places or in the year.
Even different like enemies. Like you've got the snowmen in the winter, you've got the birds in the spring, and then
oh, you got the birds that pop their head out.
Yeah, those are the ones like bap, bap,
Yeah.
The fact that they even thought of that, like these animals wouldn't still be there in winter, so that's just like not a worry. But of course the snowmen come along and be jerks.
Yeah,
Big
and like
jerks.
the water is there in spring and autumn. It's dried up in summer and it's frozen over in winter.
And like I don't think you can you fly in every level?
You can only fly in winter.
Yeah, because I think that's good because of course the snowmen you have to defeat by flying into their hat. So
Yeah.
the fact that you can only fly in winter I think was a nice touch as well to like really feel the difference, even though it's exactly the same layout, really feel the difference between the seasons.
Yeah.
What would you say is your favourite level?
See, I'm a big fan of Click Clock Wood as well. I'd say the most difficult level, but I do like the music for it, is Rusty Bucket Bay. Like that's definitely more difficult than Click Clock Wood.
Oh yeah.
That
one definitely in the actual ship.
I like Freeze Easy Peak as well because I like that for Freeze Easy Peak and Mad Monster Mansion, the themes aren't spooky and winter; they're Christmas and Halloween.
Yeah.
Like explicitly.
So it's more like festivals rather than
Yeah.
seasons, because of course they do the whole season thing right at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, I like good old Freeze Easy Peak. To be honest, I like a lot of the levels.
They were all very like, each level is dedicated to whatever the theme may be. Like, I mean, Treasure Trove Cove, you've got the shark, you've got the crab, you've got sandcastles, you've got even the lighthouse, that's at the very top, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then of course Clanker's Cavern, you've got that, I want to say the giant shark. I found that a very difficult level.
I think that's like, as a kid, that's like the first level that gives you trouble.
Because it's the first proper underwater level.
Yeah, and actually the first bit of that level, where you have to raise Clanker out of the water,
Because you have to go all the way down.
is probably the most difficult part of that level. Once you raise him and you
It's
survive
not too
that
bad.
bit, it's actually just like a bit of it's just a bit of an exercise
Jump
of
in
just
and
making sure you
getting
get
up and-
everything.
Yeah.
And then
But,
actually Bulgloop Swamp isn't too bad.
No. Yeah, I'd say my two hardest levels would be Clanker's Cavern and Rusty Bucket Bay.
Yeah, I think if you get through Clanker's Cavern, you can then get all the way through to Rusty Bucket Bay.
Yeah.
To be honest, by the time of Rusty Bucket Bay, you might be able to get enough G's in all the other levels to complete the game.
I think I managed to... I think I only got a couple on Rusty Bucket Bay and had enough to go straight to Click Clock Wood.
Yeah.
Because apart from maybe Clanker's Cavern, I think I've maxed out on everything. But to be fair, we've played this game. He's played it like a lot. I've played it like a lot.
I was going to say, because of like the amount I had to play it as well to record for Banjo-Kazooie Bridge.
Woo, Banjo-Kazooie Bridged!
I just know where everything is now. I can complete the... I'm not like a speedrunner. I don't speedrun anything. Cause I'm just not... My hands are too stupid for that. But I can complete it in one sitting in about 5 hours, which is pretty quick time. Like, you're done with Mumbo's Mountain in about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you're... Like, each level roughly takes between 20 and 25 to 100% after that. So it's about how quickly you can just... The biggest one that slows me down is always Click Clock Wood, because I always fall off at least once. And now, before we go into like the development more and things like that, the bonus stuff, so like bonuses for getting all the notes and getting all the jiggies, if you get all but 9 notes in the game, I think it's like 891, it's very high up, because there's 900 notes total, you can unlock the last, because there's 4 note doors by the final boss. One, it has an egg refill, a feather refill, a golden feather refill, and a empty pitcher which requires 4 jiggies. So I think you need all but, I think maybe 4 or 2. So you need almost all the jiggies in the game to complete that pitcher as well, and that gives you double damage.
Ah, nice.
So that makes it all go red.
Ah.
So it's, yeah. So there's like the bonuses. So you are rewarded for going above and beyond. And I'd say, especially the first time you do the final boss, definitely have the double damage, because the final boss is probably one of the most difficult bosses on the N64.
Well, it's nice to have an actual like reward for like doing 100%. Like, it's so annoying trying to do 100% on these games when there's actually not much out of it. or like something out of gameplay. I think the best reward is something that can help you in the actual game.
Yeah, because when you get to the top, especially if you've been to Cheeto as well and you've got like the expanded capacity for feathers and eggs, get all those topped up for free right before the final boss, and then double damage, and then you are like ready to go.
Because if you want to talk about that battle, the final battle, whoo, is it hard? Yeah. I've never done it. I played this game so many times, I still haven't actually completed it.
I only did it for the first time when we were doing Banjo-Kazooie Abridged, the finale. So that was only, 2013? And I've been playing the game at that point for over 10 years.
It's hard.
And even now, like, I find it really difficult. I wouldn't be able to do it without the double damage and the full health bar, I don't think. Because there's certain bits where it's just homing attack after homing attack. And I've seen people do it without damage. It's like, you crazy people. How do you do this?
You're crazy. You're crazy. How do you do this? I don't understand, man. I don't understand.
So anyway, let's take a rewind and talk about development.
So the development of this game...
It started off as a game being developed under the name Project Dream for the SNES, which was going to be about a boy, like a humanoid boy, rather than a bear, and it was going to be, the villain was going to be a giant rather than a witch. But somewhere in development, there was a bear character being developed anyway, but he had like a sword originally, and then eventually the bear became the main character, and he was going to have a backpack full of tools that helped him to do things.
Might as well give him a partner.
Those moves became amalgamated into a bird. So like a spring, legs, and like running fast and stuff like that all became stuff that Kazooie could do. Which I
think that's nice, because it would have been too close to the whole Mario character if it had been a human boy. It's quite nice to do the whole like animal thing and.
Well, it had more of a fantasy look as well in its early development.
Very cartoony.
Yeah, so it would have been just too much like a lot of other stuff you get. Whereas obviously Banjo-Kazooie as a concept, even today, is unique. Of like
everyone knows the bear and bird.
Yeah, like there's been duo platformers, but even that one of evil witch, layer, magic, technology. Anyway, so then its development was moved to the Nintendo 64. Obviously, Banjo-Kazooie were made the main characters, and talking about that, should we talk about the cut levels?
Yeah.
So one of the cut levels ended up being the fireside of Hellfire Peaks,
which of course then became Hellfire Peaks in Banjo-Tooie.
Yeah. Because Gobi references that he's going to go to a fire world at one point, and Gobi is a camel you have to save, and he references a fire world being in the game.
I believe it's in after you hit his back in Click Clock Wood, he runs away and says that he's going to a fireplace, which actually really fits in nicely when they do put it in the second game. Yeah,
because they just pick up his story. But that was meant to be after Click Clock Wood, a fire level. And then there was also, it was planned for the first game but ended up in Banjo-Tooie, was Glitter Gulch Mine. But that didn't make it into the main game either.
It's amazing how much context that was dropped from the original Banjo-Kazooie game. When I was looking into this, there's a lot of unused music. 4 unused songs can be heard using the Game Shark code. 2 Click Clock Wood themes. I listened to them and they are quite similar to the one that gets used. And an unused Mumbo Jumbo song called Mumbo's Rain Dance, which of course if you know the Tootie song, the Tootie series, he actually has a moment where he does a dance and makes it rain. So I think that whole concept just got moved across.
Yeah.
But there was also a lot of unused water themes, a lot of unused fanfare, graphics. For example, there was a firefly graphic that they didn't use, button icon, coconut, like tiny little Xmas trees. And also, like, out of the models they didn't use, there was even a Banjo-Kazooie flag. So I've always thought of it a bit like the Mario games when you had to get to the end of the level and get to a flag. I wonder if that was a concept at some point.
Yeah. Like, also in terms of levels, there's a level that ended up in DK64 that was originally being developed for Banjo-Kazooie. I think it was Gloomy Caverns or something like that. I can't actually remember. No, it's Fungi Forest was what it was going to be in Banjo-Kazooie at least. And actually the remains of that is still in the game. In Banjo's house, there is a picture of him on the wall in a forest level. and that was a level that was in the game that was removed, and that was the only reference to it remaining.
I like the fact that they were able to use these different graphics and different ideas from this game in other games, because it just feels like it's made it a more complete world with, of course, Tooie and Banjo and Donkey Kong. It just makes them feel a little bit more connected. But so they didn't have to throw anything away or not use it completely.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff gets dropped in development of a lot of games.
It just seems to be an awful lot compared to some of the games we've looked at. There just seemed to be an awful lot of drop stuff.
Can you imagine if there wasn't a sequel, the amount of stuff that would have been left behind?
The amount of stuff we wouldn't have known about. Where did Gobi go? We would never have known.
It'd be one of those gaming mysteries, wouldn't it? People would have been like, like the playable Luigi in Mario 64. Like, all the different theories about that over the years. It'd been like, this is how you unlock the fire level in Banjo-Kazooie. It'd been like one of those myths. And we can't talk about development and secrets without talking about probably the most infamous part of Banjo-Kazooie, which is its stop and swap.
God of the stop and swap.
Good. So at the end of the game, if you've got all 100 jigsaw pieces, Mumbo will show you pictures which reveal the location of some extra items called the stop and swap items. He shows you 2 eggs and an ice key. And there, it turns out there's 5 eggs in the game.
5 eggs in the game, all different colours, and there's if you go on to Code Breakers or whatever, you'll be able to find out exactly how to find each one. And once you get all the eggs, and you can access the ice key. Random fact about that: I watched Boundary Breakers, which is a YouTuber, and there's actually where the ice key is. If you go out of the picture, there's a actual it's sealed in ice. Like the ice key is sealed in ice, like an ice bubble.
Okay.
From the Boundary Breakers, if you pull out and see the actual graphics of it, and it's not pointed at the top, it would be curved. So I just thought that was an extra little kind of weirdo bit. The ice key is literally surrounded by ice and protected by ice.
And the ice key you can see in regular gameplay, but you can't access it.
No, you have to get the eggs to...
Well, you have to use the code in the games.
Eggs to get the code, to get the...
So the whole original idea of it is that you collect those items in Banjo-Kazooie and then unlock stuff in Banjo-Tooie.
Which I think was a very kind of like...
very forward-thinking idea.
Yeah, like before its time sort of idea to connect these 2 games.
But so the idea was that on old N64 hardware, the console could hold on to that memory for about 3 seconds. So what you'd have to do is turn the console off, quickly take out Banjo-Kazooie, put in Banjo-Tooie, power on, and then it use that memory, load up the actual bonus content. But in later versions of the hardware, this time that you'd have to do it in reduced to a fraction of a second.
Which let's be honest, is a bit impossible, really.
And in some cases it would brick a console.
So not really worth it.
So they couldn't do it. The technology just wasn't... I mean...
I love the idea.
Yeah, it's possibly one of the most forward-thinking ideas, like, in any game.
In any Nintendo 64 game, by far. To think that trying to link these 2 games together by taking one in and putting one... And, of course, they've been able to do stuff like that later with technology and stuff. But with the technology they had at the time, it was a very initiative sort of idea. But for game players and completionists, all you'd get now is the eggs... and the key and not really much else. Yeah,
and for a lot of them you have to use codes on the sandcastle floor to actually get them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting to do if you want to do it, but...
Check it out on, if you want to find out a way of doing it, check it out on the cutting room floor. There's videos and stuff like that probably on YouTube about it. It's just one of those gaming legend
Another funny thing from the Xbox re-release of Banjo-Kazooie is those videos at the end when Mumbo's showing you had to be, I'm guessing because of the change in hardware, had to be re-recorded because they're just showing gameplay. And it's one where Banjo has to climb up a tower to get the egg, and he falls off and doesn't get the egg and doesn't reach it. And for some reason that made it into the release, and it's still there.
Obviously couldn't be bothered. They're just like, meh, it's good enough.
So don't actually know the story behind that, but it's just quite funny to me that it's like meant to be showing like this gameplay of him going and he falls down.
There's also a test map that you can access by putting one of the codes in, and all it is it's just like this very flat platform, and it's got these 8 slopes in a circle, and it was assumed that it was a tester because when you walk up the slopes, you would slide down, so it's a tester for like Kazooie getting her legs and walking up slopes and stuff. But yeah, that's all it is, and there's a couple of notes in there, but as a little added tester room.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. But the game itself actually won 2 awards from the Academy of Interactive Arts and Science in 1999. It won the Console Action Game of the Year and an Outstanding Achievements Art and Graphics. Outstanding Achievements in Arts and Graphics. It also won the Best Graphics, the Best Texture Design and the Best Music in IGN in 1998.
Yeah, and talking of the music, it's possibly still one of my favourite soundtracks.
It's an awesome soundtrack. It just makes me happy. It's just uplifting, cartoony music. It's like, yay. It's one of those music soundtracks that once it starts playing is so identifiable.
Yeah.
Identical.
Yeah, composed by Grant Kirkhope, by the way. Very good composer. He went on to do Banjo-Tooie. I think his most recent work was Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Even that has a great soundtrack.
Yeah. And it's just like, and each level, the soundtrack really fits in with the feel of the level. Like the Gloopy Swamp one, it's just like very muddy. And even in Click Clock Wood, same kind of tune, but changed for each season. So you can really feel that change of season.
And also one of the
awesome.
What it was still relatively new at the time was having the music change with the environment. So when you go underwater, it changes seamlessly to the aquatic theme. Different areas of Mumbo's Mountain play different variations of Mumbo's Mountain.
I'm guessing even going into Mumbo's hut, there was a change in music, or was? Yeah, there was, wasn't there?
Well, that was just new area.
Oh, yeah.
But like when you Gruntilda's lair is like the best example, because any time you're near the picture or the level door, it plays a variation on Grunty's theme, the Grunty's lair theme. So it's like near the ice level, it's like ding 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 ding, and then it's like organs and stuff by like the spooky level, and
it's good. It's so was it one of the first gamings to do that?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. We like that, Rare. Good job.
And yeah, like you say about the unused water themes, I think it's just they composed all of them and then some areas didn't end up having water. But yeah, Banjo-Kazooie. This has been probably one of the longer episodes, but are you surprised, listener? We could talk about Banjo-Kazooie all day, let's be honest. We've got a long history of this game. We could do like a audio walkthrough of the entire game, just saying what we would do. What we do, what we admire about it, what's our favourite part in that little section, let alone overall. I love the way that the second game really feels like a follow-on as well. Like the graphics get updone, but it's not a big change. They still have all the original characters, the same kind of feel through, even the same baddie, but spoilers, haha. But hopefully we'll get a chance to talk about that in another season. Yes. So, as it stands at the moment, we've done our 10 episodes on 10 different games. Join us for next week when we'll be listing those 10 games in our top 10. Yeah, so anyone who's keeping count, we're just going to be ranking them from worst to best, but top 10 games of Season 1. And our favourites, obviously, but I wonder which one's going to be first. Trust me, it was actually hard, because it was hard to rank these, actually. Yeah. You can put in the comments what your predictions for us are, and also you can let us know next week when the video comes up. If you agree and what your top 10 out of these games are. Well, I've been VicStar. And I've been haddowinc. Join us next week for that. For the season finale. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Bye. Bye. Bien. Do 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 do. Bien. Do 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 do. Bien. Do 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 do. Big nostalgia. Yeah.